skrillydeeVG
I've always appreciated the Boku No Natsuyasumi games from afar. They are these adventure sims set in rural Japan, and they are unapologetically domestic. I do not speak, read, or understand Japanese well, so you can understand how my limited language proficiency creates a one-sided barrier that keeps me from being completely absorbed in these games' experiences. Additionally, this series was never released outside of Japan, but despite that, I do understand the motif behind these games. They serve as nostalgic experiences for Japanese gamers to relive a summer vacation in 1970s rural Japan, along with the game's titular main character. But over the years, and possibly to the game's creator, Ayabe Kazu's surprise, Boku no Natsuyasumi started to get international appeal. Although these foreign fans may not get these games on quite the same level due to differing worldview myopia, appreciating Boku no Natsuyasumi as a novelty would prove to be a meaningful experience overseas nonetheless, especially if well versed in Japanese. Still, if you're in my camp, you can fully acknowledge and appreciate the narrative of these games, only rarely understanding certain familial situations.
じゃあ、いただきます。
The successor of the series, Attack of the Friday Monsters, did actually get an English release, created by the same people, but with it being stuck on the Nintendo 3DS, its reach is very limited. Fortunately, a game in the same vein as Friday Monsters is available on modern platforms with a full English release. And the main character spearheading this adventure just so happens to be Shin-Chan.
Name's Puke Sky Pooper, I like to puke a poop in the sky.
If you have no idea what a Shin-Chan is an icon of Japan and a mascot that has become uber popular worldwide. It naturally started as a manga before becoming an eventual anime with global appeal, so it would make sense that a well-known mascot of this magnitude would fit perfectly for a mainstream international release for this somewhat niche archetype of video game. I'll admit, I much prefer the visual style of Boku no Natsuyasumi, with Boku no Natsuyasumi 3 serving as the pinnacle of its particular aestheticism. But Shin-Chan Meet and the Professor on Summer Vacation can be just as breathtaking. With Shin-Chan starting as a manga and anime first, its 2D style already lends itself quite well to the visual motif of hand-drawn backgrounds these games were always recognized for. Just like Boku, the characters are rendered in 3D though, so they can better stand out from the eye-catching landscapes. But they are done so in such a tasteful way that nothing gets lost in translation. What I mean by this is the pure fact that these characters are rendered through a whole different medium doesn't mean they have to lose out on their familiar silhouettes, which is a predominant caveat when 2D source material is converted in this manner. This is thanks to the animation studio behind the Shin-Chan anime closely supervising the character models as they were being developed, to the degree that whenever these characters are far away enough from a particular objective angle or simply viewed as an image steal, you'll have a hard time discerning if they are 3D models at all. And I'm still conflicted by which day cycle really highlights how sightly this game can be. The morning is so lush and verdant, while the tangerine afternoons are just so cozy and warm. Though all cards on the table, summer nights hold a particular soft spot for me, with all the frantic buzzing of the cicadas and the slight illumination emitting from fireflies. It's just so magical. Regardless of the time of day though, the stunning art and acoustic landscapes are sure to leave you in awe. Despite growing up with a different background, I can still be nostalgic about my younger years with that paired sense of wanderlust and shared childlike innocence and naivety that Shin-Chan possesses, such as when Shin-Chan, for instance, hesitates eating a fig because he can't remember if it's a safe fruit to eat or not, or wondering what the P means on a parking sign, or being struck with trepidation when exploring a new area strictly due to the fact that a dental clinic is near its path. It's a really endearing and responsive experience that harkens back to the days when I had that mutual wonderment. Shin-Chan drops plenty of silly acorns as well, which is a charming running joke within the manga and anime that, of course, teases the propensity that children have when mistaking words and phrases for others. Unlike Boku, Shin-Chan has a fantastical element enrobed with its slice of life charm. This mixing of magical realism was actually introduced in Attack of the Friday Monsters, where superheroes would visit its town every Friday. But in Shin-Chan's case, there is a time travel element that introduces roaming Jurassic and a repeated time leap of Shin-Chan's 7-day stay in Aso Kamamoto. And knowing all that, it might seem like a far cry from the Boku source material, but Shin-Chan and the Boku No Natsuyasumi modus operandi turned out to be matches made in heaven. You can tell Ayabe respected and cherished the Shin-Chan property and lovingly sculpted it into something of his own. The game manages to have its own mood and style, all while being a really faithful rendition of Boku No Natsuyasumi, with plenty of mirrored details, only now under a new and plausible guise that better celebrates Shin-Chan's inherent cartoonishness. In a time when gaming is prized for its fast-paced, high-skill ceiling gameplay, having a game like this is such a breath of fresh air. It's now the hip new thing to flex one's motor skills and dedication to a game with the goal of earning trophies and showing off their playtimes. But with Shin-Chan, me and the professor on summer vacation, there is only that immersion factor drawing you in. No extra bells and whistles are required. Sure, you have chores to follow through on that serve as the game's objectives, but they are done in such a way that's so seamless and naturalistic that it truly feels like you're just a kid trying to earn an honest buck rather than checking off some arbitrary checklist. You can then use this money to buy snacks, either to keep your hunger at bay, feed the pterodactyl that's made its way to this reality for some nifty diegetic fast travel, or perhaps invest in buying new card packs to get a leg up in this Pokemon-esque minigame that is akin to Boku's Beetle Battles or Friday's Monster Cards. While playing Shin-Chan, it's been brought to my attention that there's an English translated patch for Boku no Natsuyasumi 2, and though I'm tempted to get my hands on it, I think I'd rather experience the game in its unadulterated form once I brush up more on my Japanese. There is also the offering of the recently released Natsumon 20th Century Summer Kid, which is yet another spiritual successor by Ayabe Kaz. I played the demo, and it's that neighborly premise you've come to know and love translated to a fully realized 3D world built in Unreal Engine 4 with more modern gaming conventions. I must say, I think the fixed camera angles are a better fit for this type of game though, but I can't deny how much more these fledgling ideas are in full bloom with Natsumon's vastness and mechanical freedom. But after wrapping up my summer with Shin-Chan, I'm really pooped out from having another summer vacation, so Natsumon shall remain another adventure for another summer, I suppose, because what I played left me pretty excited. With all that being said, I'm glad I played Shin-Chan in the long-winded name first though. It not only proved to be an engaging break from the rest of my gaming backlog, but an unexpectedly sanative one as well. Moi de wa arigato.